Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome back to Tony D's Music Channel. And today I am really happy because I did some shopping online recently, and I bought 3 of the classic album reissues from Alan Parsons Project. They have reissued 3 of their classic albums on new remastered vinyl, and now it's clear heavyweight vinyl. And for now, I want to talk about Turn of a Friendly Card, their 5th album, released in 1980. Now, I first got this album on CD back in 2013. But I'll be quite honest with all of you. I didn't like the album much at first. Back at that time, I only really liked 2 songs on it. Didn't really understand the others. But it took me a long time, and now I really love the whole album. Because it's what you call a concept album. I suppose that's the right term. I mean, it tells a story on the album. All of these songs tell a consistent story. It starts off with the song Maybe a Price to Pay, which paints this picture of this man who's bored and frustrated of his domestic life. And the whole album tells a story of this man who's bored of his life and bored of having a midlife crisis and feeling bored. And then he decides to leave his wife and possible, well, we don't know there's a family now, but he leaves his wife to go off gambling and to find a more adventurous, risky life. That's really what the story of the album is all about. And they paint that picture with all these songs. And then, of course, the next track is the mega hit, Games People Play. And that song, the man's expressing his discontentment with domestic life. And now that's one of the 2 mega hits from Alan Parsons Project that I heard way back when I was 8 years old, maybe 9, on the radio. I heard Games People Play on the radio a lot, and I heard Wouldn't Want to Be Like You on the radio a lot. Those were the only 2 songs I heard from them back when I was 9 years old. And then when I was about 22, I decided for some reason to start collecting their albums at Barnes & Noble in Naperville, starting with Eye in the Sky and I, Robot. And then I got this album, which took me a long time to really learn to love, because you have to understand the context and the story of these songs. Maybe a Price to Pay is sung by Elmer Gantry, and I really want to express these lyrics to you. Something's wrong in this house today is the chorus. While the master was riding, the servant decided to play. Something has been going on. There may be a price to pay. There's evil brewing, getting out of control. And I'm helpless. I can't put it right. Something unrighteous is possessing my soul. And it's cold in the heat of the night. So he feels like there's evil going on in his home. Something's wrong in this house today. While the serpent slept, the apprentice decided to play. While the master was hiding, the servant decided to play. Evil brewing out of control, and I'm helpless, I can't put it right. Something unrighteous possessing my soul. Really paints a story that you're not sure what's going on, but there's something nefarious going on. He wants to get out. Now, I gotta tell you, Games People Play is one of their greatest hits in every concert they do. It is the last track they play before the show ends. It's the last song in the encore. And these lyrics are very clever about someone having a midlife crisis and feeling like their life is meaningless. So I want to read these to you. Where do we go from here now that all other children are growing up? And how do we spend our lives if there's no one to lend us a hand? I don't want to live here no more. I don't want to stay. Ain't going to spend the rest of my life quietly fading away. Games people play, you take it or you leave it. Things that they say, Honor bright. I have no idea what that means. If I promised you the moon and the stars, would you believe it? Games people play in the middle of the night. I don't want to live here no more. Games people play, you take it or you leave it. Again, the lyrics paint a picture of this man who's just frustrated with all these mind games, you might say, that people in domestic life play with each other. It's hard to really say what in the world of lyrics mean. But Lenny Zakatak, I think is how you say his name, is one of the singers that Alan Parsons would have on most of their albums. He just always did a dynamite job on this song. He was also on I Wouldn't Want to Be Like You, and I know he was on a few songs on Eye in the Sky also, and Ammonia Avenue. And that brings us to one of the most outstanding tracks on the album, a song called Time. Now, at this part of the story of the album, this man is leaving his family, leaving his wife, and he's saying goodbye to her. And this song is a bit historic because it was the first time that Eric Wolfson, who co-wrote and co-produced all the Alan Parsons Project songs, was the lead vocalist on a song. Usually he would just do what's called a guide vocal or a guide demo and then instruct the vocalist on how to sing the songs, but in this case, he was the lead vocalist. And he was also the lead vocalist on the song Eye in the Sky. And I believe Don't Answer Me from Ammonia Avenue. Yeah, I think that's right. That might have been Alan Parsons. But anyway, he does an absolutely achingly beautiful job on the song Time. And I want to tell you those lyrics. Time flowing like a river, beckoning me. Who knows when we shall meet again, if ever. But time keeps flowing like a river to the sea. Goodbye, my love, maybe forever. Goodbye, my love, the tide waits for me. Who knows when we shall meet again, if ever. But time keeps flowing like a river, on and on to the sea, till it's gone forever. That's what I mean about just beautiful, gorgeous lyrics and just gorgeous, achingly beautiful vocals on the part of Eric Wolfson. And sadly, of course, Eric Wolfson passed away of cancer back in 2009. So he's obviously not the one singing the song in concert. And I believe in concert, it's this guy named PJ Proby that sings the song. And again, he does an outstanding, incredible job on this song. Now, after this song, it's in the story of the album. This is where the man has left his wife and goes off to gamble, probably in Las Vegas or somewhere. Because Alan Parsons had two major passions in life, two major interests: gambling and magic. And gambling is what this album is all about. But in 2019, on a solo album called The Secret, which is on my shirt right here, on Secret, the songs on that album are all about magic. But anyway, back to this album. This is where the album sort of goes into what I call a Greek chorus. Like how back in the old ancient Greek plays, you would have the chorus basically singing about what's happening in the story. And I feel like on the rest of the album, that's what's happening, where they're just commenting on what's happening while this guy is going off and gambling. The next track is Lenny Zakatek again, one of the best singers Alan Parsons had on their albums, called I Don't Want to Go Home. And like I said, it's like a Greek chorus because they're singing about what's happening in the story. Go back home, you damn fool. Surely you know you can't win. You should never have come to this place. You should never stay on the outside looking in. It's too late to turn back. Nobody asked you to try. Can't win, you damn fool. I'm so afraid of being on my own. And like a washed up rag, tattered and torn, I've never been born. He does a great job on this song. There's so much going on there, and he's just having these emotions, like he's stressed out, being away from home. It's great. And then we turn to side 2 of the album. Which starts off with an instrumental called The Gold Bug. And the title song, The Turn of a Friendly Card, Part 1, and there are several parts. Now this one has Chris Rainbow on lead vocals, who has done, he was on a few of their albums. He was also on the album Eve, doing a fantastic job. And here they're singing about the very dirty and dark parts of being in this casino, wherever it is. Unsmiling faces and bright plastic chains, and a wheel in perpetual motion, describing, of course, that big roulette wheel in casinos. And they follow the races and pay out the gains with no show of outward emotion. And they think it'll make their lives easier, for God knows, up till now it's been hard. But the game never ends when your whole world depends on the turn of a friendly card. Oh, he sings that line with such beauty and such majesty. There's a sign in the desert that lies to the west, where you can't tell the night from the sunrise. And not all the king's horses and all the king's men have prevented the fall of the unwise. Oh, just reading that reminds me of how beautiful his vocals are in this song. For they think they will make their lives easier, and God knows up till now it's been hard. But the game never ends when your whole world depends on the turn of a friendly card. Now the game never ends when your whole world depends on the turn of a friendly card. And then we get to the next track, also sung by Chris Rainbow, called Snake Eyes. And again, it's about gambling and him getting snake eyes. Snake Eyes 7-Eleven. Don't let me down, boys. Give me Snake Eyes 7-Eleven. Don't let me down tonight. Just 1 minute more. Just 1 minute more. It's gonna be alright. This is the part of the album that's really like up-tempo, high-octane rock and roll a bit. I love it. Yeah, it's a really fun song, fun part of the album. And then Eric Wolfson again, who, like I said, co-wrote and co-produced all the Alan Parsons Project songs, delivering a stunningly beautiful vocal on the song Nothing Left to Lose. Nothing's good, the news is bad. The heat goes on and it drives you mad. Scornful thoughts that fly your way. You should turn away because there's nothing more to say. You read the book, you turned the page. Change your life in 1,000 ways. The dawn of reason lights your eyes. With the key you realize to the kingdom of the wise. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. 'Cause you've nothing left to lose. Beautiful vocals on that song. And then we get to, of course, the finale of the album, The Turn from the Card Part 2, which is a reprise of Part 1, of course. Oh, Chris Rainbow does an amazing job on that. And they had an amazing band in the Alan Parsons Project. While there were different singers on each song, they had the same band, of course. David Padden on bass, who was in that, he was in that short-lived band Magic. Oh no, I mean the short-lived band Pilot, which had a huge hit with the song Magic, produced by Alan Parsons. That's kind of how he started the project. And of course, on drums, one of the most underrated rock and roll musicians ever, Stuart Elliott. You listen to these albums, and you tell me he is not an incredible drummer who knew just what to play. And fun fact, Stuart Elliott was also the drummer on the huge hit single by Paul McCartney, No More Lonely Nights. He does an outstanding job on that song. And of course, Ian Berenstain on guitars, and Eric Wolfson himself on keyboards, and more keyboards by Alan Parsons, since Alan Parsons usually wrote the music, and Eric Wolfson wrote the lyrics. And of course, gorgeous orchestration work by the orchestra of the Munich Chamber. Yeah, vocals from Elmer Gantry, who sang great rock and roll vocals, sorry. And I do want to read the sleeve notes that came with the album. The new album marked the debut of Wolfson as vocalist. He previously sung guide vocals on the demos, but he hadn't appeared in any of the final recordings because Parsons felt his voice wasn't suitable. When we started the Parsons project, Alan was allowed to choose whatever performers he wanted. Although I would have been happy to sing on earlier albums, I accepted his decision to use other people. But on this album, we found ourselves in Paris with no other vocalist available, and I persuaded him to let me have a shot on the song Time, on the understanding that if he wasn't happy with it, he could replace it at a later date. But because the song was a major hit, which it was a single, and I believe it was in the top 20 of the charts, because it was a huge hit, Alan was clearly wrong, and Eric sang on many of our biggest hits from then on. And they do say here that the music of Alan Parsons Project is really impossible to describe and fit into one category. We used to say our music was prog rock, but I think perhaps progressive pop is a better expression for it. I don't think we were in the same category as ELP, Yes, Pink Floyd, or Genesis, because they were much more likely to go into strange time signatures and weird breaks and stuff. We did some of that, of course, but we got less proggy as time went on. Look no further than the first track of side one, Maybe a Price to Pay. It starts out with a concise assemblage of brass notes, anchored by the bass sounds and a funky riff. It's super clean. And Time, of course, is a more Eric Wolfson-esque piano ballad, with David Patton's bass carrying a lot of the rhythm. And of course, the finale, Turn a Friendly Card Part 2, is so gorgeous because it's an orchestral reprise of that catchy title track. And what's so great about the song, Snake Eyes, is of course the casino sound effects found in there. That's so cool. Eric Wolfson himself said the album was the most satisfying one they made up to that date. We made it in 6 weeks, which was incredible considering that most of our albums took a year to make. So there you have it. Those are all my thoughts on Turn a Friendly Card, the fantastic, stunning 5th album by the Alan Parsons Project, which led to a few more albums of Alan Parsons Project in the 80s. And the following album of theirs, Eye in the Sky, is my favorite of theirs, and is definitely in my top 5, top 10 favorite albums of all time. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment if you want, and tell me what you think of this album. And yeah, share the video with someone if you want, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.